Hi, it's Lel from Made by Marley. I'm a furniture artist, and today, are you new to furniture art? Are you scared to use a transfer, and do you want to create something more original with a transfer? Watch, and I'll show you what I did with this transfer, and this is the piece I made. Okay, so this is the piece for today. It's a bog standard white set of drawers. So you're here because you want to get into furniture art. You're thinking about painting your first piece. You want to put a transfer on it. You want to be unusual. You want to stand out in the market. I'm going to show you how very quickly to turn a bland white box into a piece of furniture art. Okay, what do you need to do first? This has been cleaned. I'm going to off camera in a minute. Martin will take the handles off, and I'm going to take the handles out for this piece today. And then I'm going to do an undercoat of Frida Blue. But let's get to the stage where it's sitting down on the ground, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so all the drawers have been removed, and I'm going to do a base coat, a canvas coat, a coat to make your other paints stick to, a coat to give your furniture dimension. You can go down the route when you're starting out of painting two coats plain, putting something on top of it, but you want to be able to have something different, and you also want to give your furniture dimension, and it'll look very flat and with no dimension if you don't put the sort of dimension into it. So this is just the base coat. I've got a sort of very basic chalk paint brush. I'm using Annie Sloan's chalk paint, and it's called Frida Blue, and this is going to be my base coat. So I want to do this across my piece. Why do I want to do this? Because we're doing art. We're not finishing, we're not refurbishing this back to the factory setting. Sorry, I'm trying to get all that out. We're trying to give it a base coat. So smooth is not what we're looking for. Texture is what we are looking for. And plus, if you end up waxing this, and we'll talk about that when we get to the end, then by painting like this, you're going to have, with a nice crosshatch motion, it means that you're going to have lots of nice texture when you do lots of things over the top of it. So I'm going to do the whole piece in this lovely bright Frida Blue. This is how it'll look on here. So just plenty of texture into it. That's your main sort of thing, your vibe. That's what you're going for. Okay, you paint the whole thing with a nice bright blue. Okay, so our rain freeze base coat is dry. On my mix mat here, I have Givany, Frida Blue, and Oxford Navy. These are all Annie Sloan paints, and going to try and mingle them together. It's not so much a blend. Right now, we just want something cool before we put some colours on it, before we put a transfer on it. So there's not a real, at this point in time, you know, we're just going to have a little bit of fun. I think putting too much stress in at the beginning isn't good. And I also think as well, because everybody's been in the same boat. I remember the very first time I used a transfer, and you think, I'm going to ruin this, never ruin it. It's a lot of money, and small businesses can't afford that. So really, the transfer bit is the easy part, really, to be honest with you. The tricky part is just making sure that it all sits nice. That's it. So relax about that. So in here I've got some water, but I don't need that now. I've got a water mister, although I won't be spraying the furniture, I'll be spraying the paint. Why do you need water? You need water to help your paint mix. Okay, so this is just the brush that I had the Frida Blue in, which is the same colour as this. So let's start with the Frida Blue. Just going to start up about here. And we've put all that nice texture on it. So let's just kind of start mingling this around a bit. I have to watch with this kind of finish because it's not a proper wood finish. It's got that sort of laminate on it, and it can pull the paint back off, especially if this is quite a rough brush. Okay, so what I've done now is I've gone and applied some of the Givany, which is the nice sort of sky blue, into here. But let's get some of this Oxford Navy and give it a little bit of a drama. Let's give it this drama around the edges here. I'll do this panel here, and then that way we're kind of on the way to knowing what we're doing. It's easy if you're just starting out, just break it into panels. So each one of these is going to be a panel. I'll treat this side as one panel, this side is one panel, and the top is one panel, one frame each, and then more. So let's put that on there. Then going in with Frida Blue. I am not using any other brushes to, like I've not got a neutral brush or any of that nonsense. I'm just doing this. And in with my lighter sort of shade. And then just kind of tickle it when you think it's getting nearer to where you want it. If you think it's pooling, add a little bit of water. Yeah, right, so let's just do the same. I'll just repeat the same on this one, just so you know what I'm doing. Now there are going to be other colours on top of here, so I'm not, you know, not too worried about it. I'm just going to make sure that I've got the Frida Blue down this edge. Then Frida Blue. I'm kind of going over the top of where I've already been, unfortunately, on this, because I started kind of with a lighter colour, but I think this one could be a bit lighter. We'll make them all a wee bit slightly different, I think. Aye, let's do that. I'm going to have to be careful because it is pulling my paint off. A bit more of this. I think you get the gist. You're just kind of having a bit of, you're just having fun with your paint right now. We're just putting something like this on to begin with because we're going to be putting other colours over the top of it. And that's going to set the scene before our transfer comes. But we need something nice, and it has to be base coated twice, so it may as well be kind of interesting. Let's get into the habit of making furniture interesting as opposed to one flat colour. Okay, so this has been drying. It's dried overnight. It's just a base coat. I mean, it just looks the way it looks. You can see some of the paint through it, so we're going to paint it again, and this is where we're going to do a bit more of the thing that I was saying about bringing the detail in and giving it a little bit of depth. So what colours am I using? First of all, I'm going to show you the transfer. Now, I'm laughing at the transfer because the transfer is actually called Pheasants and Peonies, and I called it Peasants and Peonies. I thought I'd read it wrong. So these are our sort of colours that's in this. I mean, I wouldn't say that this is the nicest transfer in the world, but it's not the ugliest either. It's a redesigned by Prima. It's a CC restyled one. So I don't want to put any orange on this yet because this is going to formulate quite a lot of the orange. So all I'm going to show you is this colour here. Yeah, this creamy colour. I'm going to be using Annie Sloane's Versailles, which is this colour. This pinky colour here, I'm going to be using Annie Sloane's Paprika with a little bit of this in it. There isn't any of Florence in it, but I just love the colour, so I'm going to put little touches of that. And the green leaves, I would say, are a sort of Amsterdam green. These are my kind of colours. This is the transfer. I'll just show you. We're going to be cutting this all up and hacking it to pieces, so it's not really going to matter, but this is the first sheet and this is the second sheet. Yeah? Okay, so let's set this to the side and let's see what we can do with the transfer, and let's see what we can do with the piece. Roll it up and stick it to the side just now. Okay,
if you can hear a background noise, a roaring noise,
we're having a terrible time.
It's there's like 80, 90, 100 mile an hour winds around here today, and so Lau is being braver than brave and just carrying on.
We've had no power all day. We've had no power. We got up this morning. We'd literally even made our first cuppa in the day and the power went off. So I've been weaving by the mirror of my light of my magnifying mirror, weaving at the kitchen table. It has been, we had the camping stove in and did things like make cups of tea and stuff. We've all had sandwiches for lunch, but the lights came back on just now. Well, the electricity is back on for the moment, so we thought we'd try and see what we could do before it probably goes back off, because it is absolutely really so windy out there right now. We've
still got no internet, so whether we can upload this video or not is anybody's guess at the moment.
There might not be a video this week because if this isn't filmed because there's no lights or power in here, even if that gets done, there needs at least 2 days to edit it, and all I'm going to say is today is Friday. Right, okay.
So we'll see.
Forging on. So I'm going to put my Versailles here. Well, I was planning on doing that, but it seems to have got a wee bit, a little bit dried up. at the ends, right? That's my Versailles. I'm going to put my Amsterdam green here, my Florence here.
Careful.
I know, I'm just mindful of the double squirt. Oh, there we go. And the paprika here. Right, okay. Now, we're going to be doing frottage. Frottage, what is it? It's just paper that you apply onto wet paint that gives it a really good texture. So I've just got some, I've got loads of this kind of paper kicking about, but for when we're trying to decide, but old newspaper is just as good. It's just I don't buy newspapers because I read them online. So I don't want to waste too much paper doing this. So just give it a good old scrunch. Yeah. Now, I don't want all of these together, but I think I want to set the scene as much as I can around the sort of edges. So I'll be wanting to use the darker sort of shades around the edges. So you need plenty of water on your brush. My brush is really wet. Yeah. That's why I spread my colours out so that I've got the room and move them around. So let's just get some of this nice wet paint on here. Like that. I want to keep some of the blue, so, you know, I wouldn't be going crazy. I'll just go in sections just now. I'm wondering whether I want to add anything else in here. Let's just put a tiny little touch of this here. Yeah. Right, okay, then you get your paper and you just put your paper on and rub it. Now, try not to put your fingers, because if you do that, you're going to end up with a whole load of finger marks. Can you see that? Can you see what it's doing?
Come in a bit closer. Like that.
This is probably quite a good panel too. Can you see?
Yeah.
Like that. It just gives things. Now, I don't like this part here, a little bit of dimension. Now, I'm going to change brushes because this is the one that I put in the green. So let me do some paprika now. But the thing is, I want it more pink, so I'm just going to steal some of that ochre colour and make myself a really watery pink. So let's put some of this on here and let's just blend that into there. I think the wetter, you get more of a sort of texture. If it's too thick, your paper won't pull it off. I'm just going to dip in the cream here so that I've got a sort of cream here. Let's see what, I'm just going to turn my paper around. Actually, I'm not. That's a recipe for disaster. Actually, do you know what? I think I'm going to use the green on it. Yeah, let's see what that does. This just gives it, when you put your transfer over the top, it just gives it another, something interesting as opposed to quite flat and bland. And I think that's what we're kind of aiming for here. We're not wanting anything flat. Notice I'm rubbing like this and not like this, because that's when you'll get like a finger mark in your, where you're putting your texture on it. Like that. I'm not liking this too creamy over here, so let's just go back in with the green and, oh, it had a bit of the, that's actually quite nice. Let's rub some of that on there. I'm just going to put some bit more water. So that's just the paprika and the green here. And then I'm going to get my clean brush with my white and slap some of that in there. And let's just see how this looks. Now, I'm just going to get another piece of paper. My hope is not to use too much paper because it's a waste of paper. And I didn't have anything that I could use. You could use a cloth or some shop towels or that kind of thing. Right. And if you've never seen anybody do frottage, Martin has a brilliant video where he frottages a piece of furniture. Yes, it's very interesting.
I'll put a link above, shall I?
of Martin's frotaging.
If you want a good laugh, have a watch of that, yeah.
I thought you were very good, Martin. You still get compliments about your table. And this should dry really quite interesting, and it should also dry, because we've used the colours that are on the transfer, it means that we've kind of done quite a lot of work for ourselves. I wish that drip hadn't gone in there, but maybe... Oh yeah, there you go. Just clean it off of that. Right, okay. Do you understand? It's not like you're going to answer me. I'm just going to do this over the whole piece now. I'm just going to frottage the whole thing. And once I've done that, we'll be back. Okay, the frottage furniture, it's now dry. Now, you're probably wondering what these orange spots are. I was going to flick paint on it, but I decided I wanted something more contained, less messy, if you know what I mean. I wanted it not to really particularly have a pattern. I was just looking for a sort of distress. So I just got this really tight, thin stencil. I think it's a Finnabar stencil. And I put plenty of water on my orange paintbrush and using Barcelona orange, because remember there's orange in our transfer, with plenty of water on my brush. I just kind of literally sat that in there and did it kind of like that and just let it, you know, do its thing. That's all I did, all the way around. Now, you're probably saying, if you're new to furniture, where do I put this? To be honest with you, put it wherever you want to put it. Just don't have it too like polka dots, you know, you know, kind of think about it a wee bit, you know, kind of edges, corners, sides, that kind of thing. Frame it out. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's you do you. And if you want to put it wherever you want, put it wherever you want. So there's not a real hard, fast and rule where you put any sort of distressing. Right, okay, so let's just get rid of this. Now, I'm going to put this heater off in case it melts my transfer. Let's have a wee look at the transfer. I'm going to lay this out here on the floor. And I want to show you what I'm going to do now. This is how I taught Martin how to cut them out, just by using a Sharpie, because it doesn't matter. You're on the plastic on the front. So obviously I want the bird here. So I just have to make sure that I'm not cutting, and I want that sort of pattern there.
Yeah. See my linked video for another example of drawing around things.
Yeah, because that was how I taught you how to do it, Emma.
I know.
There you go. So that's one. Yeah. Let's get this one. So I'm wanting it in close to this bird here. I still want this part here. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to take that flower off there. Cut round here. Round this leaf. Flyaways. And here. Same with this one. So let's go round. I want that part there. I don't think I want that part on this one. Round this. Round here. Round. Get this here. Round. I want a little bit of flower behind here. I want that leaf. Let's just bring that round. You get the gist. I'm going to cut all of these out in sections. What's left between it is, let's see this pattern here. We're going to keep all of that. These ones here are easier because you're just literally cutting round here. You know, that's where you would cut. This one up the top, let's reserve judgment on this right now. I maybe need some for sides and things. I'm going to try and do it as much as I can with the front, because I want this whole transfer, the 2 sheets, to do this whole piece, or most of this whole piece. And so, you know, I'm going to have to be kind of sparing, but I might get some flyaways which will give it movement from here. So anything that I think is going to give it a bit of movement. The little round flowers are not really going to give it much movement, but this here will be brilliant. So that sorry.
Bless you.
That's pretty much sorry. Martin, I must be allergic to you.
I don't think you are.
Enough.
We've been together a long time, baby.
I know. I think if I'd had allergies, it would have happened in the first few weeks. Right, okay. How do you cut out a transfer?
We wouldn't have all these children either.
They don't need to know that. Maybe I found them under a gooseberry bush.
Yeah.
Now, how do you cut a transfer out? To be honest with you, there's no real hard and fast rule. If you kind of make a whoopsie cutting it out, you can always get another leaf or something to fix what you've made a mess of. So, I mean, I would be quite confident if it's your first time ever using a transfer, well, you know, it's all going to be okay, I promise you. Now, you need to seal your piece of furniture with your top coat before you apply a transfer, because that's going to give you the best adhesion on your furniture and make sure that you don't make a mess of it. That's pretty, you know, standard. I have so many transfer videos. I'll get Martin to put a link up above to a piece of furniture that I did. It's using an IOD transfer on a chinoiserie. No, not a chinoiserie. On a chiffonier, a piece of furniture that we turned into a chiffonier. And so I'll get Martin to drop the link up there for that. Right, okay, so once you started cutting it all up, because I've got one of my birds here, I'm wanting to try and see if I can kind of place them, because again, that's going to get movement. If you stick that across your front, what are you going to do? You're not going to stick that across there like that. That's not going to be good. So, there we go. So, this is what's going to happen here. I'm going to have to stop the camera because I don't have a transfer stick unless I have, no, 1 minute till I just get one. Okay, so I've peeled the back off it. And I'm just going to show you how I'm going to go down the drawers. Put your flat surface area on first. Get your transfer tool, which comes in the pack. Fold it over the drawers. Anything where there's a dip in, give it a little bit of a shimmy in there. And along this drawer here, give that a bit of a shimmy too. Up into there and flat. That is how you do flat surfaces like that. It's pretty simple. And then you just transfer away. I would be more gentle than I'm being, but you'll see in a minute why I chose the colours that I chose. It's always good to pick the colours from your transfer. It makes it look like it's all part of one thing. Now, let's see. Under here. I'm just going to pull around here until I can get... I mean, I wouldn't rush this process. You know, don't go crazy fast. But, I mean, you don't need to go silly slow either. Right. Make sure that I've got it all coming off here at my edges. Whoop. Peel, peel, peel. In here, making sure that you've got it all. Now, once this is on, what I do is I just get my nail and I go along here like this. You can cut it with a knife if you want, but I won't be doing that. Right, okay, so you need a little bit of your backing paper. And what I do to bed all that in is I just run it along and make sure that it's super smooth in the joins of the drawers. That is your no faffing, no nonsense way to do this. That's just it. You want to get on with the fun parts. You don't want to be doing getting this and that. Right, okay, there we are. So then you just need to burnish this in all together. Make sure that's burnished in. Yeah? Boom. Second one. Boom. We're going here with this one. Yeah. All my sort of birds are all going to be on the front. Let's just get... Sorry, I'm just going to get it straight. If not, it'll look like it's on its branch all. Right, so again, I'm making sure that this isn't me transferring it. This is me just working to stick it down, really. So I know that that part's adhered, right? In with the groove, down to here, shimmy into that bit of the drawer there, smooth it out, shimmy in there, smooth it out, under there, and then make sure this part here is adhered. So then you just start transferring it on. Just make sure that, see all the edges here, I would always make sure that they are down and secure, because they're the parts that will rip when you go to get rid of your, take your backing paper off. Right, so I think that's a good enough description and a good enough sort of what you do with a transfer to get you kind of started. The aim is to make something nice, and I think if you put it on in a big flat line and join it together, then there's no real artistry in that, and plus everybody can do that, whereas your furniture will look a little bit different if you do it this way. So you know, it's always a thought. There we go. Into this groove here. I'm only going to do this one, and then I think what I was saying to Martin was I'll maybe get Martin to put a camera up just so you can see my process as I'm doing it and how I'm cutting it out and how I'm applying it. Because sometimes people want to see that part. You don't just want me to come back and go, okay, well, I've applied my transfer. That's of no use if you're starting out. I'm meaning no nonsense today. I don't know if you can tell. Right, okay, let's just varnish this in. Like that. Nail. Folded up piece of thing, which I've managed to lose already. Who knows where things go. Cut out another piece. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again. Into the drawer. And just making sure that that's... I think I only need a single piece in this. If your drawer's really not a lot of wiggle room, which I've got here, just do that. Whoop. And that just furnishes it in at the drawers. It's really important that, because you don't want somebody pulling the drawer and pulling the transfer off. All right, okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so the next bird's going to go somewhere like here, and then we'll start linking them all up. Okay. Okay, Martin just stayed with me and filmed, but I was just telling him, you know, some of the reasons why it doesn't work when you cut up and hack up a transfer is you have straight lines, and you could see me eradicating the straight lines that had been cut, but there's still one here where this flower is. So to get rid of that, I'm just going to stick these couple of daisies on there, because that way then it isn't a straight edge and it doesn't look like it's just been cut up. You don't want that. So again, I'm going over drawers. Oh, I wish you could hear the wind. You might be able to actually hear the wind when Martin edits this. All right, in there, and the same gel, making sure that everything's all sorted in the drawers, because you do not want that stuff to pull away with use. Right, so that's like that. I think now there's a little bit straight, and it's just a matter of kind of finding something that you can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch this wee set of 3 leaves. Just get those. I'm just going to stick that up in there, because then that eradicates that flat bit. Now, it's not complicated or difficult, and you shouldn't be nervous to cut up a transfer. It really is going to turn out something completely different to what you're looking at in a roll. And as I said, it's different to everybody else's, different to what other people would do with it. And there's nothing lost if you've cut it up. I haven't wasted a single piece of transfer. This is all empty. So what I've got left is this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of this gold pattern straight, and it's going to go up on this top lip at the front. And whatever I've got left when it comes to flowers, I'm just going to do a nod to the front in the middle of both sides. I'm not going to keep making you watch me apply transfers, but because you've seen me do this. But this is a kind of, well, the Quelle Surprise, it looks quite chimboiserie, but this is the look. I am going to be putting some bronze on it, because I think this is supposed to be a sort of gold, but it looks very bronzy. So I've got some bronze in a roll that I'll put some bronze onto here, which will finish it off nicely. Now, the last thing to do is this bit up here. This bit up here, Martin was just pointing out to me before, and he's saying, this bit up here isn't right. So if things are not right, just cover them up. So let's do something like that. And then, Martin, does that look a bit right now? We might need to add some more.
You know, like sometimes when I open my mouth and I instantly regret it.
No.
This is one of those occasions.
I was really nice. I said, look, what will we do? Don't make it sound like I said something, do you? I didn't.
No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean, I don't know.
Well,
I have no idea.
But when you look at it again, you said something wasn't right. I'm asking you now, is something more right now?
Okay, yes.
Or is it not?
Yes, it is.
Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. No, it isn't right, because it's got a bit there, and then we need to...
So it wasn't right.
Well, it was right-ish, Martin. You were right-ish. I want to get something like a sort of flyaway. You can probably end up with all your flowers with all the little flyaway edges and stuff cut off them when you do stuff like this, especially if you're doing this kind of look, because you need all of these pieces to link the big pieces. So, you know, that's just something that happens. Let's just kind of join up these here to make it. Yeah, there you go, Martin. See? Is it fixed now?
What do you think, darling?
I think it is.
Well, there you go then.
You're scared to commit. Do you know, when the camera wasn't on a minute ago, he said, there's something not right up there. I'm fixing the bit that's not right. And now he's saying he doesn't know. When I stop the camera, he'll be telling me again. He'll be like, well.
No, I won't.
Right, okay. There. I'm happy with that now. So this is the flow. You see? So you've got movement on your furniture. Your furniture behind your transfer isn't 1D. It's not flat. You've got all the movement of the paint effect behind it. It's the same colours in the paint effect that's in the transfer. This is how you do simple furniture art. It's just very, very simple. It's going to be a very quick video. This is it. I'm going to put the rest of the transfers on now. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to come back with some bronze. Then after the bronze, I'm going to seal it. I'm just going to go and rattle through over in the old studio and go through my drawers and get some just vintage handles. If they don't all match, it doesn't really matter. And I'll bronze those up as well. And they can go on too. And then we will be done.
Back in a minute.
Okay, so I've applied my transfer to the top band that I said I was going to do. A little bit, a nod to the front on the sides. That's good enough, and I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, now I've got 3000 grit sandpaper. Why am I using such a fine grit? I just want to take the sheen off of this. I don't want it to look as plasticky, and I think that's often...
I nearly launched into the shiny song there.
No, you've done it before. You were not singing shiny. Hang on, I forgot this part. Yeah, you stop singing. Do you know what? We haven't been drinking today. It's just we're full of the joys. Yeah. So what I'm
joys of surviving the storm.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is just taking the shininess off it, so it kind of beds down into the furniture, because there's nothing worse than something looking plasticky. It's just not. It's not good. So that's all I'm doing. It also helps with halos as well. The halo is a little shiny part, this little gluey part around your transfer, which sometimes with redesign ones can be quite tricksy. Not so much with the IOD, they've got a very kind of thin halo, but sometimes you don't want that plasticky look. That's not what you're aiming for. So by doing this, you're just kind of roughing it up a bit and making it look more what you want, less contrived.
More at one with the piece of
yes,
furniture.
It kind of sits it back.
Stuck on.
Yeah, and I think that's what you need to do with these kind of things. You need to put the little bit of effort in to make it look less like a transfer. And there's nothing sadder than seeing a big plastic transfer on something and it doesn't really on a flat piece of furniture. Whereas this is already starting to look more my speed. I just need to get another bit of this. If you don't have 3000 grit, if you get a bit of brown paper will do the same sort of thing. Just a little bit of brown parcel paper and just rub it with that. I already see it. I prefer this. Yeah, so I'm going to do this all over my furniture. And then what I'm going to do is I've got some gold leaf adhesive here. It's the Vasiba kind. This is really looking attractive, isn't it? I'm going to dip my brush in, and what I'm going to do is how am I going to do this? I want it to look distressed, so I'm not putting it on solidly. So I'm just going to kind of do something a bit like this down and round these drawers. Not all of it, just some of it. And I'll have to remember where I put this. That'll be the next thing. You can see how roughly I'm putting it on. It's just a sort of kind of, I don't want to go too mad because I've still got to sand the rest of the furniture. So a bit there, maybe some here. And once this is dry, and you know it's dry when it goes clear, it's another thing, don't be scared to use things like this. It kind of ups your furniture game slightly. So I've got some of that on here. Once this is dry, we're going to take some of this bronze foil. Now, I've never used this stuff before, so who knows? Supposedly, you just cut it out and stick it on and whip it off, but we'll have a wee crack at that in a minute. I've had it sitting over there in a tube for ages, and Martin said, where did it come from? How much was it? What's the name of it? I went, I have no idea. It's gold foil, bronze foil. We'll get to that in a minute. I'll go away and I'll sand this and we'll be back. Okay, so I had some black cup handles, and I quite like the look when you kind of make them look a little bit distressed. So what you do is you just get your whatever cup handle you've got and whatever colour matches your furniture. I'm using ultramarine blue StazOn ink, and you just kind of rub it around the handle. I always quite like this look. I've done it on something recently and I thought, I like this. So, and if you want to put a bit of distress in it, just smudge it like that. Yeah. And just, no. Can I do that? Oh. And then once they're dry, all you need to do is put some spray sealer on them, and they're done. You don't have to distress them. I just think they look kind of a wee bit more like the thing if you do something like that. Now, what gave me an idea for those was I saw ones in the shop that were like that, but they were blue. And I thought, they want £7 for one handle. And I thought, just get a whole load of cheap cut hooks, the black ones, paint them with chalk paint, distress them with ink, and then seal them. And it probably wouldn't cost you £7 for about 4. So, you know, why would you want to? Right, okay, so that's my handles. Let's get on. The jury's out on the gold foil stuff. Let's have a look. I'll show you what I think about it. I'll tell you what I think about it. Can you see here? I've already done some here. And I've done some here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some. Let's apply some up here. So basically, you're supposed to just kind of like rub it on, and it's all supposed to happen in the most miraculous way. But to be honest with you, I'm not exactly... I don't think I'm endorsing this. And then you just peel it off gently. And it sticks. But the thing is, you can't be left with sticky residue which is for your gold leaf. You don't want that. So you really need it all to come off. But to be honest with you, it's a little bit pants. I mean, it's... pants is the word. I mean, some of it's coming out quite nice. I mean, some of it. I haven't got gold on everywhere, but I mean, sorry.
Try rubbing it with
I tried it with a transfer stick a minute ago, and I was still unimpressed. In fact, I don't know what I've done here. Look, I'll show you. You see? And I mean, I think I'm using it right. I mean, I don't think it's rocket science. I mean, I'm sure you'll write in it. You'll tell me in the comments if this is not the way to use it. But I mean, I couldn't think of any other way to use it. And in fact, I've never watched anybody use it in a YouTube video because I don't really watch furniture art. So, don't really want that either. It's quite sticky down that edge. Let's give it a little bit more welly. Maybe I haven't put enough glue on it. I don't dislike it. I'm just not. I think it gives it a nice look. The look is good because I quite like that sort of distressed look. But I'm liking it as a product. The jury's out, to be honest with you. Let's see if this comes out a wee bit better. I think the trick is to peel it really slowly. I've worked out that. Try it here. It was quite heavier with the glue up the top, so maybe it'll have more of an impact. Not really. Yeah. But it is. I just can't have any sticky parts. I just can't have that. So, I mean, what do you do with that? If it's not sticking, we'll have to come along and put other leaf on it. Yeah. Well, what do you think about this product?
I like it where it is sticking.
Yeah, I like it where it's sticking as well. That's what I'm saying. It gives a nice look. It's just I'm a bit concerned about the stickiness on the furniture now. But we shall see. Yeah, I mean, it's not... I didn't put loads everywhere, so I mean, let's try here with a nice fresh part. I mean, it's not the worst, is it? I'm going to put this to wherever it'll stick on my furniture, which isn't very many places right now, but oh, see, that's nice. There we go. Kind of chuff with that part. Along here like this. I mean, it does give it a nice effect, doesn't it? Right, so I'm going to go on and do the more of this, and I've also got some Tim Holtz Rusty Hinge distress oxides. Now, if you spray these with water, they'll also run if you're putting them on your furniture, but I just thought for where there wasn't any gold leaf, I would just bougie it up with some of that, because I can't have it just being left alone, can I? That would be all too much. So just run that, especially where it's kind of, you know, you want to make your frames. So yeah, I'm more impressed with that than I am with the gold, with the brass, I think. Yeah. So anywho, I'm gonna go and have my takeaway for tea, and I'll revisit this tomorrow when I reevaluate what I think about the gold leaf. I think there's nothing, the bronze leaf, I don't think there's much I can do. I mean, I'll see what that sticky is like tomorrow, because I might have to come along and just put some actual bronze leaf on it. Some copper leaf, because it's close to this. This is supposed to be bronze, but it looks quite copper. So if I have to come along and put some copper on it tomorrow, well, so be it. That's just the way it is, isn't it? But it is a nice piece of, it's a really nice piece of furniture. You saw it's not been difficult to make. When these go on here as well, I'll give it quite a modern, funky look, I think. So quite enjoying that too. So it's nearly finished. It's just what to do with the bronze. Okay, so I'm actually a little bit irritated now, because the bronze leaf just wouldn't, it's just not performing the way I wanted it to. And I've just went to my stash, and for some reason I don't well, I never had bronze to begin with, but I did have copper, so I'm now having copper leaf, but I've only got a couple of sheets of it, so I'm using it sparingly to just get rid of all the sticky parts on my furniture. So I'm mildly irked about it, but I'm thinking, well, you live and you learn. I won't be thinking that that's something that I'll want to try again. Am I missing something? I don't think I am. It's supposed to be so simple. I just don't like the look it's given either, really. If I'm thinking it's okay, but it's just yeah, jury's out a bit, to be honest with you. I have over here, I have the variegated leaf, this stuff here, but it's I never really liked this stuff either, and I was trying to kind of mix and match some of this, but it's very bluey, but there is blue in the design, so I mean, I don't know, I'm just kind of trying to make this work now, and I'm annoyed because I wouldn't have done it in the first place. I'd have just used bronze paint. I'm irked. I would have just used bronze paint. It's just that I cannot seal this piece until all these sticky parts of the glue have been covered, and
that's all right though. It's problem solving.
Well, it is problem solving.
You always get challenges, don't you?
Well, you do, but I don't like them when it's stuff that, you know, it's a product that's supposed to be doing its job and it doesn't actually do its job. Now, I'm going to have to come along and brush this to make it look distressed, which I will do, because at the moment it just looks like it's on in chunks. But I'm just going to go around all my sticky parts with what I have here, which is not a lot, and just kind of try and work with it just the way it is just now, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've got over my disgruntled nature now about the gold, about the bronze, about the bronze foils, which I think I wouldn't bother with. So then I applied copper, which I only had a few sheets of because I don't use copper very often. I didn't know I only had a few sheets left. So then I reverted to, I'm just going to slap a whole load of gold on this. And do you know what? Now what I'm actually doing is I'm just brushing it all off. But I don't think the gold and the copper is going to look too bad. I just need to give it a really good brush. Now, what I did with this piece, you know how I'm always saying to you, save your gold leaf, save your gold leaf, save your gold leaf. If you want a distressed look with your gold leaf, don't put it on in sheets. Go to your tin and see all your little parts at the bottom of your tin or your bag. I keep it in plastic bags as well. See all those broken parts, all the little bits that you pick up, because I'll be picking these up off the floor. Martin probably be picking them up off the floor. Somebody will be picking them up off the floor. It might not be me. Anyway, those little parts, keep them, because when you've applied your gold leaf size, your gold leaf adhesive, when you've got lots of little crunchy bits, grab them in your hand and pat them onto the furniture, you'll get a more distressed look as opposed to putting it on in the sheet. That's just what I'm saying. So all I'm going to do now is give this a good brush off with my gold, my bronze, and I've got, I mean, all I needed to do was add silver and I would have been had all the metals, but it's just going to need a good burnishing. And I'm just going to, that's what I'm going to do now with my soft brush. I'm going to give it a good burnishing. And once I've done that, because see, look, there's the gold. I put the gold beside the silver here, and I thought that's not going to look too bad at all. So I reevaluated my life choices. I think I've turned it into a positive, and so now I'm quite happy with it. So I'm just going to forge on, give this a good brush. We'll get rid of all these parts, what I'm saving into my tin. Martin will sweep the rest up, hopefully, if I ask him sweetly. Will you, Martin?
I will.
And then I'm going to seal this, and I'll come back and I'll quickly show you a little bit on sealing. If you're new to transfer, maybe you're worried about sealing them and things, so I'm going to show you how I do that, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to seal it. You're better playing around with what kind of sealer you like. I use French Chic Tough Top Coat. It's really durable. However, I know it's hard to get in other countries, so play around with a sealer that you like. I know it's hard when you're starting out and things and you don't want to spend a lot of money, but I would pick something very durable but quite light to apply, just because you don't want it too heavy. The way I use mine is super simple. I just pour it into a container, and everybody always asks me how I seal. I get a dish sponge and I just wipe across the piece like that. There's no great mystery to sealing. Now, certain sealers I have heard, I've never had this happen to me, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I know that some products, when you seal, can eat away at your transfer. So I would imagine you need a water-based sealer for a start off. But I would try with a little bit of your transfer just in case, because you don't want to go all this work and then have the problem of it's eating through the transfer. But I know that mine's is good because it's the one I use all the time. And you just go across your piece, making sure you've not got any build-up of sealer. Mine's is pretty forgiving. If there is a bit of build-up, it doesn't go white and crusty, but that's not the same for all sealers. So it's just like you're kind of wiping it, really. And then you just go down your whole piece, making sure you get into everywhere, all the parts up into there and across it. So that's sealing, and that's how easy it is. That's how easy I make it, put it that way. I need my sealers to be completely durable because I sell my furniture, and I want to have the confidence that when somebody buys it, that I know that it's 100% sealed. Do a wax? Yes, of course a wax. I prefer wax to heavy coat sealing, but the thing is, wax you have to redo. So when a customer buys something, I don't want them to have to re-wax it again in a couple of years' time. So that's exactly how I seal my work. Okay, I'm going to let this dry. Martin's going to get the handles on it, and we'll get this all staged up. And that's the video today. And we'll talk a little bit more transfers at the end. Okay, so I was just about to stage it up, and I looked at it and I thought it could do with a nice bit of sort of depth around the drawers. So once you've sealed with your top coat sealer, you can come up and apply wax. It'll cure just the same way. So never be discouraged from kind of trialing that out. I'm just going to put a little bit of wax underneath the handles as well. Not all of the handles, just some of them, just to make it look a little bit like grungy. Is grungy the word? I don't think it is used. Right, so once you put it in with a soft brush, then just twirl it around. You don't need to worry too much about putting your, you know how I always say, put your clear wax on before you dark wax. If you've sealed it with a top coat sealer, there's no real crisis there. You know, you can wipe it and things. You just need to let it cure. So I'm just kind of giving this all a little bit of depth. I'm not going into where the birds are though. You can see that. I'm just kind of stopping there. Why? Because it'll make it stand out a little bit. It'll kind of you know, give it a little bit more interest. That's the only reason why. I'm not even being sparing with my dark wax. I mean, I'm putting quite a bit on it. I think, is it starting to show, Martin, that's what that's doing? It's sometimes hard to tell on,
I think so,
on a camera. Let's get up in here, Dan, and you might have more chance of seeing it. There. Up and round. Just giving it a little bit of something else. Now, I hope today you've kind of got the concept. I know that I sometimes do an awful lot of hand painting. Not everybody's into hand painting. And I know that sometimes you just want to start simple. Everybody has to start somewhere. And I remember when I first started using transfers, I am obviously, I kind of like have a rebel without a clue, because my very first transfer, I sliced it all up. And I think I've never applied one just as it came out of the wrapper. But I just think if everybody else is applying theirs the way it comes, then that's a lot of furniture that looks the same. Okay, they might be different colours, but the actual artwork is going to look very much the same. And you don't want that. You want to be standing out with the work that you do. So they're simple to apply. You just peel off the backing.
Oh, can I jump in here?
You can tell us, because Martin's the person to talk about this, because he's never used a transfer before.
When the first time I tried it, Lel taught me this technique of the, you know, look at the sheet, draw around with a Sharpie or a marker pen, draw around the shapes and the designs and the bits of the transfer that are the focal points that you like, you know, draw around them and then cut them out and then place them on the furniture like Lel has here. And then you use all the other little bits of the transfer, because the way I describe it is this, right? Okay, so this piece here, these designs, we'll call these nature designs, you know. And as we all know, in nature there are no straight lines. So if you've cut something out and you've got a straight line, that's when you, as Lel showed you during this, that's when you use the smaller bits of the transfer to
get rid of your flat lines,
get rid of your straight lines, and then all of a sudden, you know, you've got this.
Yeah,
it is surprisingly easy to do.
And were you scared to use a transfer for the first time, Martin?
I was. I looked at that transfer and went, I don't know what to do with this other than put it on as they have, you know, as it is on the sheet. It didn't really occur to me that that's what I should do. And then you showed me that technique. And so now when I see you doing this, this all makes perfect sense to me. That when you do it, when you're cutting it all up, it makes perfect sense to me, because I know what you're going to do next.
And I think, put it this way, if Martin can do it.
Yeah, if I can do it.
If Martin, and no, Martin's reasonably creative, but I wouldn't say he's creative in the way I'm creative. He's creative in a different way. He makes things out of wood. He's creative in his thinking. He's a creative, but I wouldn't say he's a furniture art creative, but he got on with it, no problem. And I mean, that's as much.
And if I can make my table, and more importantly, I can sell my table, which it did sell, then, you know, you certainly can.
Yeah. I think that's the thing about this. It's being brave. You cannot waste a transfer, even if you've chopped it up into bits, because you can just apply it over the top of other parts and put it back together. If you think you've wasted it, there's no fear in it. And if you're starting out and you want some artwork, then transfers are the way to go. That's how I did it. Yeah. I didn't.
And the other little added bonus as well when you do it this way is you always end up with a few bits left over. And then what you end up with is you end up with a drawer or a suitcase full, or a box of bits of transfer. And when you're doing other projects and you just want a little bit of this, a little bit of something there, or a little bit of floral there, or a little bit of, you know, of whatever it is there.
You've got a go-to stash.
Yeah, you've got a go-to resource stash of all the little bits that are left over.
That's what I do. And then sometimes I save them all up so I can do one piece of furniture with all the parts that have been left over.
Yeah, you've done that a few times.
I've done that a few times. You know, when I can't think of what I'm going to do that week, I go, let's have a look at my stash. If I'm out of inspiration, I just go up my stash and have a look and see. It's hard when you start out, you don't have a stash.
Yeah, it's about making your vision, your piece unique. I mean, you know, like Lel said, this transfer, there's hundreds of people, thousands of people that have got this transfer, but nobody else's piece of furniture will look exactly like this.
Because I've went to the bother, and it isn't even bother I've just went and all I've done is cut it up. So I'm encouraging you to put plenty of paint on the background, give it the movement, give it the, how is it going to move? Do all of that first. And then once you've got all your movement on it, then apply your transfer. And to put the colour and the movement behind it, just look at your transfer and pick out the colours. And that's exactly what I did. There's the blue there. Okay, this is more of a white than a cream, but I have got cream on my piece. I've got gold on it from, I was saying this is bronze or gold, I don't know. We've got pinks on this piece. We've got all the different sort of shades and colours that are on it. So I'm going to get on, I'm going to wax, put some detail, some wax around the edges of the sides, and then I'm going to stage it up and we can get this wrapped up for today. Okay, so this was not complicated, and that's the thing about using transfers. You need to be confident in using them. You just cut them up and put them wherever you want them to go, and I cannot say that enough. The finish that the transfers go on to, your base coat, your work underneath, has to have kind of a movement. It has to, there's a difference between furniture refinishers and furniture artists, and if you want to create art and movement and interest, then think about it as a canvas. You wouldn't just paint a canvas one flat color and put your art on it. Canvases have all the different build up and texture and movement, which helps the artwork itself, and that's pretty much what you're doing on your furniture. It wasn't complicated. You saw what I did. I'm not even going to go what did we do, because we didn't really do that much. We threw some paint at it, and we applied the transfer, which is a redesign by Prima. It's a CC restyled transfer, and it's called Pheasants and Peonies, not Peasants and Peonies. Peonies. I got some bog standard cheap handles, and I painted them orange and distressed them with Stays On ink, aquamarine Stays On ink, I think. And I think that instantly, I saw handles like that, and it was just crazy the price they wanted. And I thought, I can make my own. So that's what I've done. It's been sealed, and it's had dark wax applied. Oh, and we put some gold. Well, we put some bronze, we put some gold, and we put some copper on it. It had all the lusters. And that's it for today. It's been pretty simple, Martin. Anything to add?
No, I think I've said a few things during the making of this about how easy it is to do this.
It is. It's not tricky.
It really is about, why would you just take what has come in the packet and stick it on a piece of furniture?
Yeah, you want to own it.
Cut it up, do different things. You get rid of your straight lines by adding your little bits, because there's no straight lines in nature,
He's just repeating himself now.
I'm repeating myself, yeah, but it really is that simple. If I can do it, you can do it. It's that simple. I'm a Neanderthal, If I can do it, you can. That's all I want to say.
It's true. I mean, and the more Martin got into his project, the more he was with gusto cutting things out and stuff. And I need a bit there and I need a bit for there. So, if really, I mean, and I'm not downgrading you here, darling.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
If he can do
it's
it, you
easy
can do
peasy lemon squeezy, and you end up with something that is totally original and only one of, because it's your interpretation.
Yeah. So if you're new to furniture art and you're just starting out, we have so many videos on our channel that you can watch that involves all different things, from slightly complicated to really simple. They're all there, so you can just watch the back catalogue. And if you want to learn more skills and things that are way more like I'm really homing in on it, then you can consider joining our private channel group, which is, there's a live every Thursday, and we do all different things on that. Anything from reverse decoupage to Indian finishes on furniture, just you name it, we've had a crack at it. So, and they're a lovely bunch of individuals, and you'd meet a lot of friendly, like-minded people like yourself. So that's always good as well.
Just go to our YouTube homepage and
press
click the join button.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so if you've liked this video, give us a like, give us a share, give us a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe and push the bell notifications so you're notified when we release a new video. Marty, the lovely Marty, and I will see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.